Shut up and sit down.
Hello, my friend. You are listening to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast, the #1 place for innovative marketing, retention strategies, and business growth ideas made just for dance studio owners. Now, this isn't your average business podcast. We're here to shake things up, simplify the hustle, and focus on real, actionable insights. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, and after 30 years of running studios, coaching owners, and scaling businesses, I know one thing's for sure. There's no one size fits all in this industry. You've got the passion and I've got the tools to help you take it to the next level. So hit that subscribe button, grab a coffee, and let's scale your studio together. It is that time again. It's Q2 for the year, which is incredibly mind-blowing and scary how fast the year's going. But I wanted this episode to be a really practical episode, and it's just about how to plan out your next quarter in 7 simple steps. So if you're a pen and paper person, grab that. Maybe if you've got your computer open, you want to take notes. This is a good one to practically just take notes. If you like the thought of quarter planning, but you're not quite sure how to do it, because I know some of you love planning. You've probably got highlighters ready to go. You have your Google Calendar open and a fresh notebook just waiting to be filled. But then there are the others of you who loathe it. Well, I don't actually understand that because I do love the planning process. I do appreciate that, and that is totally fine. Planning can feel overwhelming and time consuming, and let's be honest, right? It's kind of pointless when things change every 5 minutes within the studio life. But here's what I want to say to both camps, whether you're a planner or you're an on-the-fly type of person, quarter planning doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, I'm about to share with you what might be the simplest framework that you've ever tried, and the results, they might just surprise you. So, because here's what I see time and time again, studio owners who take 30 to 60 minutes at the start of each quarter to get clear on their focus are the ones who feel more in control. They feel less scattered and overwhelmed, and they just tend to then lead more confidently in their business, and they're able to spend time growing their studio and increasing their enrollment numbers because the big stuff, the strategic thoughts and planning and the ideas are out of their head and down on paper. And so today I'm going to walk you through the exact quarter planning framework that I use with my studio owners in the mastermind. Now, it is practical, it's fast, and most importantly, it actually can get done if you do sit down to take the time. All right, so let's dive in. If pen's ready, if you're ready to go, if you're writing it out, if you're driving, maybe just bookmark this episode for when you do get in front of a pen and paper or your computer. Okay, number 1, we need to start by reviewing your last quarter. So before you look forward, you do need to take a moment to look back. And this step's important because it gives you insight into what's working and what needs to shift. Now, I've got 4 questions that I want you to ask yourself. So the first question is, what worked well last quarter? What felt easy? And what created results? Okay, that's actually 1 question. The first question is actually 3 questions in one. So what worked well last quarter? What felt easy? And what created results? Question 2 is, what didn't go to plan? And with that, why didn't it go to plan? So you might have to do a little bit of self-reflection there. Okay, question number 3 is, were there any surprises or patterns that you noticed? So have a look back through the data. And then number 4 is, what does the data say? So here I want you to have a look at your student numbers. I want you to have a look at your retention rates. I want you to have a look at your new inquiries or your leads. And then I want you to have a look at your revenue. So they're probably the 4 main areas that we want to focus on. There are obviously more, but they're the 4 main ones if you're looking for the quick and simple quarter planning. Okay, so now this doesn't have to take long. even if you can just give yourself 15 to 20 minutes of just honest reflection, it's going to guide you to better decisions moving forward as we go through this plan. Okay, so that's the first thing. Number 2 is to set 1 to 3 key focus areas. Okay, so now you've looked back, it's time to set your focus for the next 90 days. So this is where many studio owners can get stuck. They try to do too much, but the truth is focus builds momentum. So choose no more than 3 focus areas in a quarter, I say. Even 1 or 2 is ample. And for example, this might be strengthening your team culture. It might be improving retention. It may be reworking your concert planning systems. It may be boosting your cash flow, or it may be automating enrollment follow-up. It's not about being perfect in every area. It's about progress in areas that will make the biggest difference. So take a little bit of time and work out what that might look like for you, your 1 to 3 key focus areas. Okay, number 3 is to define success. So for each of these areas, you want to define their success. Ask yourself, what does success look like at the end of this quarter for each of those? But I want you to be really specific and realistic as well. Okay, so it's not like you're sitting at the studio with 200. Like, by the end of 90 days, I want to have 1,000 students enrolled. Like, we have to be realistic about it. And if you do that, it's amazing and we'll celebrate you. But realistically, it's most probably not going to happen that fast. Okay, now this isn't about the dreaming side. It's just about creating a clear finish line. So I'll give you some examples of what I mean by that. So the specifics might be hire and onboard 1 new senior teacher. It might be re-enroll 85% of current students for term 3. It might be finish and implement the concert communication checklist. So see how it's really specific. If it's a revenue one, it might be increase your net revenue by 10% through upselling private lessons. So again, it's really specific how we're going to achieve it. Because when success is clearly defined, it's then easier to track your progress, and then we get to celebrate your wins. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is now to break it into monthly milestones. So once you've set your focus and defined what success looks like, I want you to break the quarter down into monthly goals. So this helps you pace yourself and avoid that last minute scramble that we all know too well. And I am guilty of this as well. I definitely thrive off a deadline or a timeline when something is due. So I do get that. However, the idea is to plan it so it's broken down nice and evenly so we don't get overwhelmed at the end. So for each of the tasks or each of your focus areas, I want you to ask what needs to happen in April, what needs to happen in May, and what needs to happen in June. Okay, so again, being very specific, but I want you to keep it high level. I don't want you to write. There's no need right now to do a full to-do list. I just want you to capture the big picture steps so that you know what to focus on and when. Okay, next step is step 5, and it's to allocate your tasks and the time. So now that you've mapped out the direction, it's time to figure out how the work will actually get done, which is just as important. So this is where we need to start to protect your time and your energy. So you want to be looking at what needs to happen and ask, what's mine to do? So what is it that you have to do yourself? What can you delegate to a team member? And what could you automate or be supported by, like a tool like AI? And then I want you to take your calendar and block time for the top priorities. So even if it's just 30 to 60 minutes a week dedicated to your quarterly goals, it's going to make a massive difference over the long term of the 90 days. Now, I know some people thrive off time blocking, some don't. I think some want to, some don't ever want to think about it in their lives. But I really do suggest just having a bit of an idea of when it is you want to be allocating these growth thought processes at a time in your calendar, because it's just too easy to be distracted by other stuff. So I really, maybe even just this quarter, I challenge you, if it's not something that you do or you think you like, just challenge you to try it for the next quarter. And then if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. But maybe you will like it. See? Who knows? All right, moving on to number 6. You want to set a rhythm for review. So the planning is great, but without review, it will usually get forgotten. So this step is just about keeping the plan alive. So you need to find something that works for you. So whether it's at the end of each week, at the end of each fortnight, I probably wouldn't go much longer than that. I mean, you could do at the end of each month, but maybe when you get really refined with it, but make it a non-negotiable check-in, because you want to be asking yourself, what's on track, what needs adjusting, and where do I need support or clarity? So they're really important questions to ask yourself at this point. What's on track, what needs adjusting, and where do I need support and clarity? Because these other things could actually stop you in your tracks from moving forward and getting your 90 days complete. All right, finally, we're going to finish with number 7, and it is to keep it visible. You don't let your plan just live in a notebook and never open again. You want to keep it visible. So whether that looks like a whiteboard, if you're a whiteboard person, if you're a digital doc person, or a wall planner, whatever works for you, have it in front of you all the time. Have it visible on your desk. Have it stuck to the wall. If it's something that you can move, like, is it something that you can bring to your team meetings and use it during your dedicated CEO time, like the time when you're actually building and working on your business. When your quarter plan is in front of you and in eyesight all the time, it then just becomes part of how you grow your business, not just like a really great idea that never gets used. And I know this, and I'm talking from personal experience because I've done this for a while, and I now literally keep my quarter plan in front of me. It's on my desk right now so that I can keep referring back, because I forget the things that we were talked about and what was decided and how we're moving forward. And so I refer to it regularly to make sure that I am on track and I am moving forward how I planned at the beginning of the quarter. All right, so let's recap all of those points. The first one is to review the last quarter with honesty. Number 2 is to set 1 to 3 clear focus areas. Number 3 is to define what success looks like for each of those areas. Number 4 is to break it down month by month. Now, start by month, but then as you get a little bit more experienced or comfortable with your quarter planning, you can then start breaking those down into weekly or fortnightly tasks as well. Next one is to allocate the task and protect your time. Number 6 is to create that the space for review and to adjust. So keep fluid with it. You've got a plan, but sometimes, as we all know, things don't always go to plan. But where can you adjust? Where can you tweak? Where can you change things slightly to keep on track to heading towards your goals for the end of that 90 days? And then finally, point 7 is to keep it visible and to keep it alive. So make sure that you see it, that you're referring to it all the time, just to simply remind you, because there is so much going on. I know, I feel it with you. I know there's like a billion things. I don't know what's going on with this world. It's so fast. So if we can just keep it in front of us somehow, that we can check in regularly so it is actually working for us. All right, that is it. It's simple, it's effective, and most importantly, it is doable. The best part is when you follow this framework, quarter planning stops being overwhelming and starts becoming part of your day-to-day routine. Now, studio owners who do this consistently, they tell me they feel more focused, they feel more grounded and more in control, and they see results and they grow faster. They grow their business faster. So even when things are busy, they're still growing. And that's what it's all about, right? Yes. All right, everyone. I hope this episode has given you some clarity and a practical path moving forward. Love a practical path. Even if you only do 1 or 2 of the steps this week, you are already ahead of where you were yesterday. So I'm proud of you. That's very cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and I will be back in your ears next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other studio owners who would love it too. And let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at Jen Dalton for more tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes moments to help you simplify and scale your studio. Until next time, keep dreaming big and taking action. I'll see you back here soon.